Mulligans and Hackers Golf, podcast episode 9. I'm Chris, and we got Alvin over here, sitting by the fire yet again, wrapping up our season tonight with our final podcast for this season.
For season 1.
Yes.
We'll put season 1 to bed.
Yep. We will have some podcasts throughout the winter, here and there when things come up, but this will be our official end to our season 1 of our podcast.
Season number 1 in the books. Yeah, I think this is a good time to put it to bed.
Absolutely.
I think we've got maybe just less than 3 weeks left in our golf season, if the weather holds.
If the weather holds, I believe I was talking to Mac down at Cottonwood the other day, and he said that they're going to start blowing out their sprinklers, I think, around the 21st of October, which gives us a couple more weekends to play golf as long as the weather stays good. But, I mean, here in southern Alberta, that could turn in a hurry.
Yeah, you never know.
No. Last time we were on the podcast, we talked about our season, and we had promised everybody we'd talk a little bit about the Ryder Cup that was upcoming.
Yep.
So that happened. So
it was my first Ryder Cup.
Right. And so what did you think?
Your first Ryder Cup?
No, well, I mean, this is the first one that I've really watched a lot of.
Yeah.
I have tuned into different highlights and different days of it in the past, but I haven't followed it near as much as I followed it this year. So I knew the format, but I didn't really pay as much attention in the past.
So explain the format, because I'm still not 100% sold on what the format is. I do know Team Europe, Team USA.
Yeah,
I get that.
So Team Europe, Team USA, essentially they pick their teams. So the teams are picked. They come in. First day you have morning foursomes. So it's either best ball or it's 4-ball. And they do that on Friday, and they do that on Saturday. They have morning and afternoon, and they play as teams. And then Sundays is where basically all the points are on the line. They split it down into 12 individual matches between the European players and the American players. So every match is worth 1 point. You can have it so that the U.S. wins 1 point, or the Europeans win 1 point, or they split and they each get half.
Right.
In order to maintain the cup, if you already had it, so Europe was the defending champions coming in. In order to maintain the cup, they had to get 14 points. They only needed 14.
USA needed 14.
Correct. Europe needs 14, because if they got 14, then the most the Americans could get was 14, and it'd be a tie.
Right.
And the tie goes to the defending champions. Right. So the Americans needed 14.5 points to take the cup back. They got off to a rip-roaring start.
Yep, it was a shit stomping.
Yes, the first 3 sessions were 3-1, 3-1, 3-1 for the Americans.
So it was a 9-3 lead
after the first 3 sessions of
that would have been Friday and Saturday.
That would have been leading into Saturday afternoon.
Yeah,
it was 9-3.
Yeah, and that was. I think that put Team Europe on their heels. I was going to talk about the teams.
Yeah,
USA put together a
probably the best team they've ever had.
It may not have been the most cohesive team, but even at the end, Koepka and Bryson hugged each other, and they had their moment, which...
They're all a bunch of fools.
It leads me to believe that I was right earlier when these clowns were doing this just to get a part of that money that the PGA was putting up for the social media.
I'd have to agree with that. Dustin Johnson was the oldest American player at 37, so not terribly old. But he was the old. Yeah, Justin Thomas was there. Colin Morikawa was an absolute stud for the Americans.
And then, in contrast...
Yep.
I look at the Team Europe rot.
Yes, they were mostly veterans.
And yeah, they were Rory was there, but he's getting long in the tooth.
And Rory didn't really do a whole lot until his singles match on Sunday.
So my opinion when it comes to putting teams together like that, and again, I don't know a lot about golf. Well,
whether it's golf or any sport, really.
So you have John Rahm, who's the best player in the world.
Yes. He's the future of the European team.
And it doesn't matter what... PGA Player of the Year and all that BS. John Rahm is the best player in golf right now.
100%.
So next
2 years.
In 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
Because the
President's
Cup is next, right?
So for you, those of you that don't know, the President's Cup also pits the United States team against everybody not named Europe.
Right.
So that'll take place next year.
Right.
In
and
2022.
I think Mike Weir played on that squad once upon a time.
I do believe so. There has been a history of Canadians playing in that event.
So that'll be something I'll be really interested in next year.
Yeah, we have some top end Canadians who could, like Corey Connors, Mackenzie Hughes.
Yeah.
Those guys could potentially push for a spot on that roster
And that would
for
be
sure.
cool. And yeah, I'll definitely be following that.
Absolutely.
But getting back to Europe, they need to surround Rom because I think they had Victor Hovland on that team.
Yeah, Victor Hovland is going to be
a young guy. He'll be a guy that's a staple.
He was the youngest guy in the field,
right? So he'll be a staple on Team Europe for a while now. But I think they got to get rid of the Poulter.
Well, Poulter was such a stud. That's probably his last. That's probably his last Ryder Cup. But
yes, I get it. But you need to surround Rom with guys that are young and hungry.
Yes, and I
think
because
I look at the U.S. and this is my first Ryder Cup.
Yep.
And I look at how hungry and young the U.S. squad was. And they were chomping at the bit to get at this. And I looked at Europe, and Europe was, let's go through the motions, and we can do it if we go through the motions. And the only one that I saw that had a lot of emotion, other than Rom, was the guy who played with
Lowry.
Yes,
Shane Lowry, who's a Ryder Cup rookie,
right?
But he played extremely well.
And I'm not a huge fan of Hatton.
No, I'm not a big fan of Hatton either.
He's Europe's
just chirpy,
just
to himself.
He's Europe's DeChambeau.
But you know what?
In my opinion,
after coming out of that tournament, I have a lot of respect for Bryson. And speaking of DeChambeau, where the Americans really took over and I think won this tournament was their length off the tee. The Europeans couldn't contend with that.
Hole number 1 Sunday morning.
Yes.
Bryson DeChambeau hits the green.
Yeah,
it's a par 4,
and then steps up and drains a massive
40-foot putter, 40-foot
eagle.
putt. For eagle.
Yep.
And he's playing Sergio Garcia.
Yeah.
Good luck, buddy. I really want to see how you come out of this. And there's another guy that I would definitely rethink on the team for next time is Sergio Garcia.
Correct.
Again, getting long in the tooth, has been doing this forever.
Yep.
And
I mean they took
victories aren't always around the corner for these guys, right?
Well, they took contrasting approaches, right? I mean, the Americans went young.
Mm-hmm.
No, they took the risk and they went young, but I mean they also had, I think, 8 of the top 10 golfers in the world on their team. And the only one that wasn't on the Europe or the American team was Oosthuizen,
right,
who's South African.
Right.
And so he can't play. He can play in the President's Cup, but he couldn't play in this one.
Right.
So outside of that, the top 9 of the top 10 golfers in the world were there, and Rom's the only one on Europe.
Yeah, right. So again, I think in 2 years we'll see a different shape to the European team, I'm thinking.
Absolutely.
So that'll be something to look forward to.
There's some good young players, not only in the PGA side, but also on the European Tour, where Europe kind of has they have a point system where you have to earn your spot. They have their what's it called? Their captain's picks.
Right.
But for the most part, they use points off the European Tour as well to get their players to play, because a lot of their guys play over there. But Victor Hovland's going to be a staple. John Rahm's going to be the leader of that team for a long time. I wouldn't be surprised if you see Rory back maybe once more as kind of a leader, right? Like a Dustin Johnson type, like this year.
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, coming into this year, Dustin Johnson hadn't had a lot of success in the Ryder Cup.
True.
And this year he went 5-0. He was unbeaten.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
I think an unsung guy on Team USA that I really thought was cool being on the team was Harris English.
Absolutely.
I thought that was cool.
Well, he earned his way on towards the end of the year by his play, right?
Right.
He wasn't he in one of those long playoffs?
Yes.
Towards the end of the year, and he won it.
And he won it. Yeah. It was. It was 8+.
I think that was like the 6 or 7 hole playoff in that one.
Yeah.
Because they were just going back and forth, and then he managed to win. So going back to Harris English, it was nice to see him on the team. He was a Ryder Cup rookie.
Yeah, I actually like him.
Yeah.
I really like Harris English. I thought he was a great pick to be on that team.
Yeah, and I think that the American team coming in was heavily favored, at least on paper.
Yes, I agree. Everybody was talking about how Europe has won so many in the last dozen or whatever, but I don't think they ever faced a team like this.
Well, they didn't really have a chance.
That was hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at all the quality golfers that was on Team USA, and then you look at Team Europe and go, well, who on Team Europe, other than Rahm, is going to beat any of these guys?
That's right. Nobody has the distance off the tee, right? And that's something that they decided to go with a heavy veteran approach. and I mean, it didn't pay off.
No.
And typically, when you're
and this might have been the last kick at the can for that veteran group as well.
Correct.
Right?
And when you're the host nation, you're expected to win. And I mean, what with everything else going on in the world and not being able to have the European fans there and stuff, it wasn't a typical Ryder Cup feel. Because usually those European fans they travel well, and it gets crazy. I mean, the Americans were drinking beer on the tee box before they teed off. I can't even remember who that was, but they chugged 2 beers the one morning. And it's just about having fun. But it really meant something to those guys to clinch the points and get the win and bring the Ryder Cup back. I loved when they asked DJ at the press conference. They're like, "Hey DJ, you know what? With your age, do you think you got the stamina to out-party these guys tonight?" And he's like, "Abso-fucking-lutely." And everybody just lost their mind. It was awesome.
That was brilliant. And I mean, good for them. And whatever my opinions are on some of the players for the U.S. and Europe, but for that matter, I really enjoyed that aspect of golf as the Ryder Cup. I've watched a little bit of golf this year, and that by far was outside of the Masters.
Yep.
Because I absolutely adore the Masters.
Yep.
Outside of the Masters, that was the best event I watched.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I was quite happy with how it turned out. I mean, there are a couple things coming out of there. I wasn't a huge Bryson fan towards the end of the year. I was kind of losing respect for him. But after watching the Ryder Cup, I really liked how he handled himself. I liked how he was with his opponents. I liked how he played the game, and he just stepped on their throats when he had to.
Yeah.
And
he actually acknowledged the fans throughout it as well.
Absolutely. And I mean, I have complete respect for him for that. One player I still hate is Brooks. He's just there was the one he was arguing with one of the rule officials over something and just losing his mind about it. And if I break my wrist or something, he's like, it's on you.
It's on you. You fucking too. He even swore at the fucking officials.
It's just unacceptable.
What a clown. Bryson maybe a little bit. I don't know if he's totally changed my outlook.
He's a little bit showboaty, but that's just his personality, right? Because he can drive it.
He just participated in the world's longest drive competition.
Right. Yeah,
and actually made the final group.
He made the final 8.
Yes.
Which happened. So in the final 8, you get bracketed into 4 and 4, and then the top 2 out of those four groups go to a final 4, and then those final 4 go down to the final 2, and then you have your winner. He couldn't make it out of the final. I guess you call it the quarters.
Right.
He couldn't make it out of the quarters because the longest drive I think he hit was 398 in the quarters. And the longest drive inside of his the time he was there was 417 was the longest he hit. Berkshire ended up winning again.
Second in a row.
Yeah, he hit a 419 yards. 422 was last year. 419 yard drive, and the guy who finished second was 417. so he just beat him out. But I mean, speaking of 400 and some odd yard drives, Bryson on the one par 5 on day 1.
Yeah.
What was it? 417 yards. He crushed that ball.
He had a 70-yard approach to the par 5.
Yeah. No, he cut all the water.
Cut everything.
And 417 yards.
There's a picture floating around on Instagram and Facebook, or just on the internet in general, if you wanted to go and have a look at the lines from Garcia on the par 5 to Bryson on the par 5.
It's crazy.
It is a different. It's a different world of golf.
It's like men playing against boys at that point.
Yeah, it's like, you got less than a gap wedge in, and Sergio's still going to pull out a 7-iron, 6-iron, maybe something. I don't know. He's not into the low wedges. That's for sure.
No. And one thing about Bryson, I mean, on Saturday afternoon, I really hate in this format how there's gimme putts.
Yes.
I really do. I'm a purist that you can miss a short putt.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're a pro or not. Make them drain everything. Not only that, but even if it's just for the mind games or whatever it is, make them lock in and make their putts. I wouldn't give them anything. I would make them putt everything.
But my take on it is that even like when they would put their putter down by the hole.
Well, Bryson did that after they didn't give him the one putt on number 1 on Saturday afternoon.
But the European guys did it as well.
Yeah,
right, and that just adds to the it's team playing team here.
Yep.
And if you're not going to give me this putt, I'm not giving you that putt. And
That's right.
You can put your putter down and show how inside the putter length it was. It doesn't matter.
Yep, that's
I'm
right.
not giving it to you. You put that shit out. But I agree with you. I think the ball should go in the hole.
100%.
But I mean,
some of the other craziness from the Ryder Cup. Jordan Spieth's shot, probably the shot of the tournament, where he was hanging up on the lip on the one hole, basically had to shoot it straight up. I don't even know how he hit the ball, and he landed to within like 4 feet. It was amazing.
It was a wild shot.
Yeah, that was Friday.
It was buried right in the cabbage.
Like, I mean, on an angle like this, and he almost came
angle.
Straight back down into Lake Michigan.
Yeah.
That's how wild it was. He played really well. He lipped a putt on, I want to say Saturday, against Rahman Garcia. Yeah, because Rahman Garcia ultimately ended up winning that match. But he lipped a putt for birdie on Saturday, and it went completely in the hole, rolled around the lip underneath the hole, and came back up and sat on the lip.
Yep.
It was wild.
I saw that one.
That was pretty crazy.
But all in all, I thought that was a really good event. I enjoyed, for the first time, seeing team events in golf.
Yep.
I really enjoyed that event. That's something I'll look forward to. I'm going to look forward to the President's Cup, and I'll be looking forward to the Ryder Cup
Absolutely.
in 2 years. That was a blast.
Yeah, it was well put on, and I mean, congratulations to Team USA, who now holds the Ryder Cup, got it back, and we'll have to see what the future holds for Rahm and the Europeans.
Yep.
When they, I do believe someone had said something about it being in Rome or something like that, so I'll have to check into that coming up in a couple years and see where it's at. I mean, outside of that, we've just been golfing as much as we can in the last little bit, or trying to anyways.
Yeah, I haven't been getting through too many rounds.
No, you've kind of been. I just feel like, and I mean, even with my game, I feel like we're just not engaged. Like our season is over.
So at the beginning of the year, when I first got my membership, I remember a conversation I had with a coworker of mine, an old Scotsman that has been playing golf for as long as I've known him.
Yep.
And at the end of last year, we had a conversation about golf when he said he wasn't going out as much. He says, "No, I'm good," right? And I said, "Well, how can you ever golf yourself out?" He goes, "You can. You can golf yourself out." And I didn't believe him. I thought he was. I'm like, "You're just a crazy old Scotsman. How can you golf yourself out?" And then we got our membership this year.
Yep.
And when we got up to the finale of our season, I think I'm golfed out.
I think you were fatigued coming into the end of the season.
I agree.
To be honest, like when your play started to drop off, I don't necessarily. I think it's just a matter of, again, this is our first season where we've actually got a membership, where we were religiously going, 3 to 5 times a week, sometimes more earlier in the year. Yep. I look back on my own season, and early in the season, I was down there 4 to 7 times a week. Yep. Whether it was driving range nights where I was actually working on my game and going to the putting greens, or it was, we were putting it around, or I was hitting 100 balls and then going and putting it around, and then hitting some more balls and then going playing another 18. It's just, I don't feel, the last couple weeks when we're out playing, if I make a bad shot, I'm just kind of like, all right.
But even that, I look at your game, and I look at how your progression through holes has improved.
Yep.
Your drive off the tee box is starting to become a little straighter.
Yep.
You're still a little wild on some, but your ability to scramble out of that, like today we were down, and hole number 1 was drive just off to the left, second shot on.
2 putt for par.
2 putt for par. We got on hole number 2. You hit it down the left side.
Got it a little bit into the shit.
A little bit.
So I just took a 6, and I wanted to just get it out somewhere I could hit it. So I popped it out 100 yards. Took a gap wedge, just put it on, and then 1 putted for par.
Right. I look at how you progress that way, and I see how your game has developed.
Yeah.
I don't see my game developed like that. I kind of lost where I was earlier in the year, and that I think a lot has to do with golf fatigue.
Yeah, and maybe not even physically, just mentally too.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of both.
I wish I had Harris English's mental game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mentally it's important, right? And I mean,
even started listening to a golf mental podcast today.
Yes.
So, and I mean, because I do recognize that it is a big part of my problem is to now, especially when we're just going out to play rounds, is to be engaged in the game.
Yep.
I think we went out Saturday. I think I started Saturday double, triple, and I was done after 9. I'm like, yeah, I don't need to do this anymore. Today I started double, triple, and then I kind of brought it back a little bit. But then when we made the turn and got back to the back 9, after the par 5, number 14.
On number 15, you kind of got eaten up by the wind.
I got eaten up, and I was done. I didn't play. I just sat in the cart and played, just drove around.
Yeah.
Because
it's not fun for you.
No, and I mean, if you would have looked at my iron swings on 15, my drive off the tee box came up short, but I still made it across the creek. I still had an iron shot in, and I chunked it so bad it hurt. But my swing was terrible. So then I walk up to the ball. Literally, I walk up to the ball because I didn't have to take a cart to get to it.
Yeah.
And I change clubs and I make another hack at it, and it just didn't go anywhere. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm physically done. So I sat in the cart, and that's the mental part of it. I mean, I've got my membership paid for twice.
Yep.
With the amount of rounds I got in.
Yep. So you're really not losing anything, right? So I mean,
going back to the conversation I had with Alex, and I said he was full of shit that you could golf yourself out. Here I am, first year with my membership, and I am officially golfed out.
And how many rounds of a round have you played, or roughly?
I don't have an accurate count, but I am in the low 90s for sure.
Damn. And I mean, I was like the first week or two, especially after our tournament, and I mean, putting a cap on our season and having a really good final round and being able to lock down a win in that regard, it was almost like I just let my focus go. Yeah. Because it was like, okay, we're good. I've won what I needed to win. Now we're just gonna play some fun golf. And for the first week or two when that happened,
it was you struggled.
I was frustrated. Yeah. Like I wasn't like I don't get like frustrated like you get, but I was frustrated to the point where I was like, okay, like you know how to play golf. You can play these shots. Like what's happening here?
But again, even for hackers like us, you still have to be engaged to the game.
Correct.
Like if you're going to go play golf, you're going to play golf. And I mean, I find so here's my scenario, okay? So when I'm at home now, since the season has ended,
yep.
Okay, when I'm home, I want to be at the golf course. As soon as I get to the golf course,
you want to go home
and put the bag on the cart, I want to be home.
Yep.
And it's wild.
It's mind-boggling,
mentally,
right?
Right. So even before I get up to the number 1 tee box, I'm like, I'd rather be home.
See, and I don't like.
But I do know that the end of the season's coming.
Yes.
And there's going to be a few months here where we're not going to touch a golf club unless we
can check out a simulator somewhere.
Unless we go to a simulator, because I think that we talked about it last time. There's a simulator opening here.
Yeah, there's a simulator opening. Cottonwood actually has a simulator that they've had, or they'll have 2 this year because they added a second one. But they've had a simulator in there the last couple years. Desert Bloom added a simulator.
Did they?
And also, Who's Your Caddy has a simulator.
Dude, oh yes, yeah. I was actually in that place.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about giving them a call and speaking of Who's Your Caddy and possibly seeing if they do a putter fitting, just because I want to go down and we've been talking about putters because you've been on the look for one.
Yeah,
and I would, and for my knowledge, because I'm such a nerd in different ways. I mean, I like my Maltby mallet putter, and I really think it's a putter that's good for me.
Because I tried it.
Yes.
I took it out for a couple of rounds.
Yeah. Yep.
And I will agree. That thing is money.
Well, I love and you brought it up. I never really pinpointed it until you said it. It's the face insert where it's a feel putt, right? Or a feel putter.
The ability to control pace with that putter is unbelievable. Yeah. I was shocked when I started using it on the practice green. And then when I took it out to the course and managed to get on a few greens where I could actually use the damn thing, your backstroke does not change. It doesn't matter how far you are away from the hole. Your backswing only comes back a certain way. It's your follow through that gets you pace you need.
That's right.
And I found inside that 3-foot range,
yep,
it's 100%. So I've used a few putters this year because I'm traditionally a blade guy, an old traditional blade guy.
Yep.
And the ability to control the pace inside of 3 feet is very difficult.
Yep.
I have a mallet putter that I literally hate hitting inside 3 feet because the ball absolutely explodes off the face. And if you're not on line, you're going past the hole and you're going to have a longer putt coming back. So I tried your Scotty Cameron that you had.
Yes. The Scotty Cameron blade
style. I don't mind that one.
I'm not and when you were using the mallet, I use that one. And I don't mind that one so much for pace control. I don't really have too much of an issue with pace. I just find that with it being the blade and with the way that the neck style is, it's just not, I can feel that it's just not right for me, because I just don't feel like I have as crisp a line when I putt. Like today I had my mallet putter and we were on 5. We were on 5. And I took my tee shot into the cabbage in the left. I took a 60 and I'm like, well, I'm gonna have to really hit it to get out of here. Well, it came out hot, so I came out. I'm on the back side of the green, and it was like what, a 70 foot putt.
Yeah, because the pin was
in the front.
In the front, you went off just on
off the back. Yeah. So I got up there and I was like, well, I got to aim it real right and get it to the crest because it's downhill.
Tiered. Yeah, it's tiered, so there's a crest. And the pin is on the lower tier.
That's right. So I kind of looked at it and I'm like, I just need to get it to the crest and hopefully it'll break and it'll be nice. So I stepped back, I did my putting routine, and I hit my putt and I'm like, ooh, is it going to get to the crest? Like, it's real close.
And it did. It just hit the crest and got a little bit of roll down the crest, and then it picked up its speed and rolled right out and tunked right in the hole.
Yeah, center cup for a nice bird. That felt good.
And I think I truly believe that putt, it was longer than your Tabor putt.
My eagle putt and Tabor.
Eagle putt and Tabor. I truly believe it was longer than that.
Well, it was a more difficult putt because it wasn't a straight putt, right? You had to read the tiering.
But back to the multi putter.
Yeah.
When I used it, I really liked how it controlled the pace of the golf ball. The ball doesn't explode off the face with the weight of the putter. It just controls that pace really well. And I found I really liked that putter. And if I was going to put my mind and stick with a putter now, that would be the style I'd want. Well, is that style? But I want to try some more first.
Yeah. And again,
there's that putter like Chris McKeon uses with
the center shaft.
Shaft.
Yeah,
I would really like to track down a right-handed center shaft to try.
Well, I mean, where the shafts are, whether it's got the plumber's neck, the shaft, the short slant in it, or the center shaft, the slant in it, all of that stuff is just stuff we would have to play with, right? But I mean, every putter selector that I've went through online, because I mean, some Callaway and different clubs have their like wedge or their whatever selector that you answer a couple questions and they'll give you a really good idea of what you should be looking for. Everyone for me has told me I need a mallet, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm most comfortable with a mallet putter in my hand. However, things like the length of the putter, the lie of the putter, the loft of the putter, the weight of the putter head, all stuff that I would really love to know, because I mean, I would really love to customize like a tailor-made spider, to fit my bag completely, if that was something that fit where I need it. So I mean, ultimately, I just like that information so that in the future, if I want, I can go and do something like that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I mean, I think it'd be fun and something we could document even on here if we went and did something like that, like a putter fitting or a driver fitting or something, right? Because I know that's now with my irons fitted, it's just a matter of time before I look at fitting something else in my bag. And I mean, you're gonna have to figure out eventually what you're gonna do in your bag. And Darren and I were talking today while we were on the course. I currently have 5 wedges in my bag: pitching wedge, gap wedge, 52, 56, 60. And I was like, I never hit my 52. I might as well drop it out of my bag and add a 5 wood.
Yeah.
I was like, because I have a 5 hybrid and I have a 4 hybrid. But if I had a 5 wood with a little bit more distance, I mean, not that I really need it, but it's just something else to play with.
That would be something you could work in and try.
Yes, depending on the course we play.
Exactly, because again, when you're playing at Cotton, when we're playing strictly from the blacks now, which is the
furthest ones back. Yeah.
I mean, where's the gap in your bag, distance-wise?
There really is none.
You don't have one.
No.
Right, so it would be just something to play with.
That's right.
Right.
Yep.
I find I hit my 3 wood and my 5 wood really well.
Yep.
I've lost my driver a little bit because I've tried a new TaylorMade R9.
It matches your 3 wood, right?
Because I've got a TaylorMade R9 3 wood that I bought and I really liked. So Big Dave had a TaylorMade R9 driver in his vehicle that he wasn't using. So I've taken it out. I've used it probably for about 4 or 5 rounds now. Started off really well, but I'm right back into that driver yips off the tee box. So
I'm speaking of driver, for a couple days there, I was, when I was struggling a little bit with everything else, my driver came around.
Yep.
And then lately, now that I'm starting to get everything else kind of dialed back in, I've been trying to hit my driver on a couple holes, and it's just like it's nails on a chalkboard when I hit that thing.
I wonder what it's like to have everything in your golf game working at the same time.
Oh,
I wonder what that's like.
If you ever find out, let me know, because I've never seen it.
It's crazy.
It would be I'm just happy when my putter's going and my wedges are going, because that's all I really care about. If that's going, I can put up a really good score. So
yeah, we'll work on stuff. I'm not sold on my Wilson D7s anymore.
Yep.
Because they are a performance helping iron.
Yep.
I don't think I need that anymore.
No, and I mean the winter time's the perfect time to kind of look and keep an eye out for stuff,
yep.
right? And I mean, because typically if you're going to get anything custom, it usually takes a month to 2 months before it comes out. So I mean, we got lots of time over the winter. We can hit up any of the simulators. I mean, get some swings in and just try and keep our swing as fluid as we can, right? Because I mean, we're gonna lose some of that touchy stuff, but I mean that's pretty normal, losing the putter and the wedges as you don't play, because that's all feel. But I mean, as long as we can kind of keep our arms free and swings ready to go, and then by the time we're ready for the next season, we'll be laughing.
You plan on changing anything for your bag for next year?
I'm not in a
okay. I'll say any drastic changes.
I'm not in a rush to make any drastic changes to my bag. I mean, I love the Bomb Tech wedges in my bag, but feeling different wedges that I've seen people play with, and I've been doing a lot of research on the bounce and the loft and the stuff like that on the wedges, because I wasn't really sure what it meant, and I've been doing a lot of wedge selector tools, because I really want to take my 52, my 56, my 60, take them out of my bag, and actually get ones that are more fitted to what I need. With my +2 upright lie, and then the bounce and the grind that's specific to how I'm going to play those clubs. I've kind of been playing with those, so there's a good chance that next year I may have a couple new wedges in the bag, and may go that route. Yeah, and I mean, I may add I've always been on the lookout for a 5-wood. I mean, it's not something that I'm like drastically have to have, but I've always kind of been keeping my eye out to see if one that matches my set kind of comes up that I could maybe grab. But I mean, if not, that's not the end of the world. But other than that, I mean, I think I like my bag the way it is. If something comes along that can improve my bag that I think is good, then I'll probably look at adding it. If I do a putter fitting and I get my proper specifications and I get an opportunity to maybe get a full custom one, I might go that route. Mm-hmm. But again, that's all stuff that I'm not in a hurry to do.
Yeah.
I mean, my bag is set. If next year's golf season was here and I have to play with what's in my bag, oh yeah, I'm totally comfortable with that.
Yeah. I would pull the Wilson D7s out again for next season if over the winter I don't find anything I like or have it in my mind that I'm gonna make the change. But that would be the first thing I would change. Is I would. But again, I don't know what I would go with, because we're so new at this, right?
Yep.
And I got invited by PXG to go to Edmonton to do a club fitting, but I mean that's a 6-hour drive.
Yeah.
One way.
Yeah, it's a long ways just for a club fitting.
Just for a club fitting, when I could do that here, right?
Yep.
But I am interested in the PXG clubs, because they just released a retail version of a driver, and it's affordable. It's in the under $300 range.
Yeah, I think it was like $225, $250 or something.
This is where it all started. I messaged, I posted on one of their that I would really like to try that retail driver, and then it was chatting back and forth with the representative, and they said, "Why don't you just come to Edmonton to do a club fitting?" Well, I'm in southern Alberta. They're in northern Alberta.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a long way to go.
It's a little bit out of the way. So here's another question for you. Speaking of like, who's your caddy?
Yeah.
When you're dealing with like golf club places like that, are you intimidated when you walk in?
I used to be. I honestly, like, before we really got into playing golf, and we play like 10, 12 times a year, where we're kind of just going out with our buddies, and really, I mean, I would consider myself not really a good golfer, not even an average golfer at that point, right? Just a guy out there hitting balls, and it's like, I was a little intimidated walking into places like that because you just don't know how you're going to be received, because golf in a lot of places is hoity-toity.
You bet.
And I mean,
hence that's why I bring it up, because I've been in. I went in there once. I didn't quite get that feeling of being intimidated. And maybe it's because I played a shit ton of golf this year. But when I walked in there, I wasn't that intimidated. Guys were in there, and they were on the simulator. They were on the putting green. I just kind of did my tour, right, and walked around. But I didn't get that feeling of being intimidated anymore.
I think the first time I was in there a couple years ago, I walked in and I was looking for something, and I looked at the prices, and I was just like, "Oh my god, this place is not for me."
That's a whole different animal when it comes to prices.
Yeah,
for golf
yeah.
That's
I was a little bit intimidated there because I wasn't at that point where I wanted to spend money in my bag, right?
I'm still a budget golfer.
Yep.
Hence the Kirkland wedges in my bag. I'm a budget golfer, and when it comes to drivers and irons and stuff, I love my cheapies.
Yep.
So when we talk about club fittings and stuff like that, that's a next tier jump for me when it comes to
and I mean, I kind of took that jump this year when I did my irons, right? And I just think it's natural to progress that way. And honestly, like I say, I really think maybe it wasn't the club specifically that helped my game, but they helped me lock in and put the time in, because now I had invested into my game. So it's like, okay, you have the tools now that you've invested time and money into. Now you need to invest more time into the game and actually work with them, which is, help motivate me to do so, which helped my game as the year went along.
And before, like, the end of the season, as we were going into the finals for our league and our championship, your game was right there. Your game was mint. But someone else I want to bring up, Clark.
Yeah.
Clark's game has really started to improve even after the season. He has continued to improve.
Yes. Yeah, he was great last weekend.
Yep.
Today, his front nine, I think he shot a 39. Mm-hmm. He had a couple bad holes, but he had 2 birdies. He was getting lots of birdie looks. I swear to God, if he learned how to putt, he would be deadly. I mean, he just struggles a little bit with the putter, but I mean, it's coming around.
But again, watching a guy like Josh.
Yep.
Start breaking 100 regularly. So his game was improving, and seeing how Clark is improving.
Yep.
That's cool to see.
Yeah, Clark was improving. Dave came out last weekend, and he played really well as well.
Yep. So seeing all these guys play a little bit more golf and their game getting a little bit better.
It's almost like there's a sweet spot for the amount of rounds you gotta play to have it play your best game. It kind of seems that way.
I don't know how many more rounds I'm going to get in before we shut her down.
Well, I grabbed a couple tee times next weekend. I know it's Thanksgiving on Monday, but I mean, I grabbed.
I'm still going to be around, so I'm probably still going to want to play.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to limit it this week. I've got a tee time booked Tuesday again for me and my daughter.
Yep.
Just to go down and do 9 holes because that's going to run out for us as well.
Yep.
But I do believe that's going to be. I think I'm going to go down to the driving range with Darren this week.
Yep, working on a few things.
Because before we left the course today, I was talking about my swing and how poor my takeaway with my irons were, and that's why I couldn't get back down and make good contact with the ball. And so we were working on stuff in the parking lot. So I really want to take that to the driving range and give that the once over before the season's over.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I mean that's this weekend especially, I made a habit to go a little early because usually I like to be there a bit early and hit like my small warm up bucket. But typically I like to hit one large bucket of balls and just kind of progress through my bag the way I like to progress through it. And I haven't been doing that the last few weeks. So
and it kind of shows.
Yes, yeah,
I'll give you that.
Shows. So this week, the last few days I've kind of done that, re-engage, get focused on my putting, despite not really quote unquote having anything to really play for. It still frustrates me when it's like, okay, you should be able to make those shots. And I mean, if you get a close birdie or you get a close eagle opportunity and you happen to miss it, or you just make a really poor swing on especially on Cottonwood where we've played like 75 plus times.
Yep.
I mean, it can be aggravating. I mean, like today, I was even through 2, and then on 3, I fucking put 2 balls in the fucking water and took a 7. That was, I don't know.
That's kind of been my mantra.
Perfect drive onto the fairway, and then 2 into the fucking water. And I'm like, what am I doing? But that's golf for you.
Yeah, it's golf.
It is what it is.
So, next season.
Yeah.
We're going to have our league again. We're going to do our second year for our championship.
Yes. Yeah. We'll probably come up with a schedule probably sometime after Christmas. Sit down, try and allow enough for us to play out of town tournaments and stuff like that.
We were talking about when we're going to have our we're probably going to end our championship or have our championship. Sorry, a little earlier.
Yeah, I would say end August, early September.
Yeah,
like first weekend, maybe a couple weekends earlier.
Because that would give us September to play a bunch of tournaments.
Correct. Yeah, because September is usually when we have all the year-end stuff, right?
Yeah, because our championship this year was on the weekend of the
17th and 18th.
17th and 18th, and that weekend there was the Cyprus tournament.
That's right.
So that's when we could think about getting in as well.
Yeah. It's going to be...
We're not quite sure how many tournaments we're playing next year.
Yeah.
But we're going to try and play in as many as we possibly can and take as many of our guys as we possibly can to go and do these tournaments.
Yeah, of course it's going to... I mean, there's going to be financials and everything. Who can afford what is going to be in there as well. But, I mean, we're going to try and get as many guys out to these events as we can.
There's a draft tournament.
The draft golf tournament.
Plug it again.
Yeah,
we're going to that draft tournament. I don't care if I don't play in another tournament other than Rolling Hills, because I will play in a Rolling Hills tournament. But that draft tournament is something that I'm. When they put out the date for when it is,
we'll plug it on it. We'll plug it on social media on our at Mulligans and Hackers Golf on Instagram and at Mulligans and Hackers Golf on Facebook.
And we're going to mark that, and that's going to be on the calendar, and we're going to be there. As many of the guys that wants to
in marker,
it's going to be there, and we're going to go to that.
Yeah, no, we'll come up with our tour schedule. It might not be 20 events, or it might be spread out a little bit more. We kind of haven't gotten into the logistics yet,
because we haven't even really looked at a calendar for next year to see where we are.
And I mean, again, I think there's some different ideas that we potentially want to look at. I'm sure we'll come up with a couple of drafts, pass it back and forth before we come out with something that's that we finalize. And
because we do want kind of the consensus amongst the
core group,
which there's a half a dozen guys that really made the effort to come out all year.
Yep.
And we want input from those guys as well.
Yeah, we want to try and keep everybody as involved as we can, right? Which is the goal. I mean, because ultimately we're just a bunch of guys that are just having a blast playing golf, right? Golf. I mean, Darren said it today. He's like, I really love our group of guys that we golf with.
Yeah.
And again, I said that to Clark today. I was like, it's nice. Our golf group is nice. It's nice to have 3 guys that get out and golf. I mean, the last little bit, 4 guys with Dave when he joins us, and Clark. He's like, well, you mean 2? He's like, because Alvin's only here like part time, and I'm like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so there's that.
my enthusiasm is definitely waning in the last few weeks.
Yeah, you make one bad shot and it seems to ruin your round. But I mean, again, you could just be you're mentally and physically golf fatigued, right? So I mean, why be out there and put yourself through the fall temperatures and the fall weather to play the game if you're not going to at least play decent?
But even not engaged to play decent, like
your mind's not there.
Your mind's not there. So you make that bad shot, you're not engaged enough to recover from it.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So that's kind of where my mental game is right now.
And I mean, it's a hell of a lot easier to recover from a bad shot when you have something to play for, or the weather's nicer outside, or you have other factors that are like, okay, deep breath, need to refocus. This shot still counts. Let's go here. But I mean, right now we're at a point where we're just playing out the string. We're like a sports team that just has nothing to play for, other than to just play the game. Yeah. And I'm up over. I think I'm at like 112, 111 rounds.
Jesus.
So it's I may be getting a little bit golf fatigue too. I mean, I'm a little bit younger than you, so I can't really use fatigue as an excuse.
Yes, I am the oldest guy on this tour.
Yes.
The oldest guy. So, you know what? I'm going to take the granddaddy status.
Yep.
And say, fuck all you little...
I'm not even the youngest guy on the tour, so that's nice.
I'll take days off when I want.
Yeah, that's fair. And, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how the new season comes up. I mean, I'm sure Dave, Clark, Darren, Chris, Josh, my dad, my cousin, Chris and Jake. They'll all be back next year, and whoever else we end up adding in.
We have entertained the idea of getting at least maybe a couple more guys in that would play a lot of rounds as well.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get 2 full groups.
Yeah.
Like to have 2 full groups every event.
Yeah.
Because then it would be a little bit more competition, a little bit more solid numbers all the time. But I mean, again, that's a work in progress, and and we're very selective with who we like in our group. Or well, you are anyways.
I am very selective. Yes, because
you're kind of a crotchety old man. So.
I am, and because of my age, I'm entitled to it.
That's fair. That's fair. No, that's why we have to be selective who rides in the cart with you.
Yep, I agree.
I mean,
I don't let just anyone ride in the cart with me.
That's right.
I don't let just anyone play in a group with me. I know I am that guy. I'm crotchety that way.
That's all right. We tolerate you because we don't mind you so much.
No, yeah, you guys actually know me, so that's the difference. People that don't know me really think I'm an asshole, and I get it.
I mean, we're all assholes.
Yeah.
It is what it is. But
we're fun assholes.
Yeah, ultimately, we're just out here having fun and playing golf, right? I mean, yeah, like we said early in the podcast, we got 2 to 3 weeks left. I mean, my golf is virtually, I mean, another thing that I've checked out for is I'm not playing at all during the week now because I have other commitments.
Yes.
So, I mean, I only ever pick up my irons and my drivers on the weekend.
Yep.
So I mean, there's a lot less time I'm spending at the course now. I've rolled up my putting mat and tried to get my putter kind of dialed back in, and I mean, I've seen life from that the last little bit just by putting in my living room. But I mean, ultimately, again, I have so many other commitments going on that it's kind of like, golf season's kind of coming and going. And we're gonna enjoy a break from it for a little bit.
And your fall and winter commitments.
I could only imagine what the PGA guys felt when their season wrapped around. They had like a week off.
Yeah,
and then they're back playing. I mean, speaking of which, Sam Burns just won the Sanderson Championship today. I think the second PGA Tour event of the season.
Maybe.
Yeah, I believe it's the second PGA Tour event of the season.
I haven't even really.
Because the first one was the week before the Ryder Cup. That's the one where John Rahm was -1, didn't make the cut, which was probably good for him going into the Ryder Cup. One other thing we didn't touch on for the Ryder Cup, it was the inaugural Jackless Nicklin Awards.
Jack Nicklaus.
But it was Jackless Nicklin or something they had pronounced it as. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. So each team had one winner. DJ Dustin Johnson won for the Americans because he was 5-0, and Sergio won for the Europeans. So that was kind of nice to see. I love the Ryder Cup. I'm pretty pumped to see the President's Cup coming. I mean, hell, who knows if we get enough fucking guys going into our group, maybe we'll be able to split into groups at the end of the year or something and have a similar type thing in the future.
I was thinking about that too.
That'd be amazing.
Throughout the entire Ryder Cup, I was thinking, maybe we can do something like that as well.
Well, I mean, I kind of. What was I checking out? Oh, the Alberta Amateur Tour or whatever. Mm-hmm. You talked to those guys a bunch on social media. They actually split their top performing guys into they called it a President's Cup or whatever they wanted to call it, and it was a blue team versus a pink team, and they played it out until a winner.
Nice.
So it's pretty sweet. I seen that on their social media, which was kind of cool, and that kind of gave me the idea. I'm like, if we keep going in the next few years, if we get to a decent size, maybe we can do that, right? Yep. It's using the PGA Tour kind of as a model of the things that we could do if we have enough people. Yep. And I mean, ultimately making, because when you start doing stuff like that, it just brings more fun into it.
I agree.
And more stuff that we could do.
I agree.
So it's cool.
And with the core group of guys we have, that's a really good start.
Absolutely.
I agree. So maybe next season, at the season after next season, if we get a few more guys involved that are committed and are good dudes that we would want to, do something like that with, then we'll consider something like that, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're always open to adjusting the schedule and making some changes. Again, we're kind of learning as we go, and I mean the same with our podcast and everything else. It's amazing to me that we have so many listeners, that are so many downloads through our 8 podcasts and this our 9th, and we appreciate every single one of them.
I truly cannot believe that us being two regular dudes that are just starting the hobby golf full time, how many interactions we've had with golf oriented people.
Yeah, individuals, companies,
individuals, other podcasts.
Yeah, I mean, different clubhouses
from not just like. This is what kind of blows my mind. It's like we're two dudes in southern Alberta.
Yep.
And we've talked to people in Europe, Australia, United States. It's been absolutely wild.
Yep. Other side of Canada.
Yep. Yeah. I've got a couple of buddies in Newfoundland.
Yep.
That do almost just two dudes that do the kind of the same thing we do. They travel around, play some golf courses in Newfoundland.
Yep.
So yeah, I chat with those guys. It's wild that we started this at the beginning of the summer, and with the followers we got on Instagram and just the interactions has been
it's growing faster than I ever thought that it was going to do. Like I mean, when you approached me with this idea earlier this year, it was kind of like, yeah, okay, that's cool, I'm in.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had zero expectations. Like we're just gonna play some golf, get some buddies together. I mean, we have a pretty solid group of guys, and I mean, I didn't really know. I knew Dave okay, or well, not personally, but I knew Dave because my daughter and his daughter are friends. I didn't really know Clark all that well. I mean, I've met Chris a few times, hadn't really gotten to know him very well. And I mean, it was awesome.
I guess, yeah, even those relationships
Yeah.
that we've built throughout the years, pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean, we all kind of work in the same industry, but it's like, you know, we work for different companies,
Yeah.
so it's not like we're talking to each other every day.
It's been wild, and I still don't know where we're going to continue this. This is the end of season 1, so we'll have a season 2 when we start our Mulligans and Hackers League season 2.
That's right.
But we're going to have some other things coming up over the winter.
Yeah, anything that comes up, we'll pop out a little individual podcast.
We'll be putting out our posts saying that something's coming. We've been engaged with some pretty cool people.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, sometimes things come up out of the blue, and I mean, if something exciting comes up or we get involved with something exciting,
we're gonna share
we'll let you guys know on social media. We might, I mean, if it's important enough, we'll podcast about it.
You bet.
I mean, it probably won't be in front of the fire on the deck because it'll be fucking minus 40 degrees outside, but that's besides the point.
Yeah, because that's coming.
Yeah, that is
coming.
Don't remind me. I mean, we're coming up here to Halloween here soon, and we not looking forward to the snow. I wish I lived somewhere like California where we could just golf all year round.
Oh God, I wouldn't want to live in California. Texas would be my area.
Somewhere warm where we could just golf all year.
Somewhere warm, but not PC.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean,
it's been a great first season, guys.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
We appreciate everybody that's listened. I can't believe the number of downloads for this basic podcast and the feedback that we've gotten for the podcast.
Yeah,
has been really.
It's been amazing.
It's been more than I ever thought we would get for something as basic as what we do.
And I mean, a lot of the guys, you know, some of the other podcasts reaching out to us, helping us out with different things and suggestions. And I mean, we appreciate all of that. I mean,
on the Screws podcast.
Yeah, on the Screws podcast helped us out. They just reached out to us and, you know, said, hey, do you want some help with it, or do you want to maybe do this or learn how to do this? Absolutely, we're always open for those suggestions
because we don't know what we're doing.
No, we're basically flying by the seat of our pants, man. We've gotten
this far without knowing what we're doing,
which is amazing.
And it's amazing. So thanks to everybody that's reached out and contacted us, and we've had great interactions and great conversations with. I mean, the people, companies, other podcasts, our own crew that we play golf with.
Yeah, our families for putting up with us, hanging out on the deck talking for an hour and a half.
Yeah. Well, so here's a question before we wrap this up and get out of here. Has your wife listened to any episodes?
Yeah, she hasn't gone out of her way to listen to episodes, but I mean, my daughter listens to them pretty religiously.
My wife has listened to 0 episodes. I appreciate the support, honey.
My wife gets a kick out of us talking about it. Illy usually has the episodes on, so when she's cleaning the kitchen or doing her chores or whatever, so Zara always has a good chuckle about it. It's pretty funny. But I mean,
0 episodes.
I mean, it's a pretty niche group who wants to listen to us just sit here and talk about golf.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's a few people out there.
Apparently, there's way more than I thought there was.
Yeah.
So there it is, guys. Season 1. We're going to wrap it up. because we've been rambling for
An hour.
long enough now.
Yeah.
And again, thanks everyone for listening. Keep in touch. Keep chatting with us over the winter months here, and in the spring we'll start this up with season number 2.
Yeah, you bet. Stay safe, and I mean, may your mulligans be plenty and your hacks be findable, and we'll catch you when the snow melts.
See you guys.